Alright guys, here we are. I am not gonna lie, I'm loving Unit 3. I am very much enjoying learning how to about writing with you. So far this week we've been working on fictional narratives. We've also learned the sound. What's the sound? Someone gets in trouble? Ooh. And how do you spell that sound? Oh, two O's like soon. Or with our King Log and King Crane, they were fools. Good job. Okay, so for our warm up today, I'm going to read a very short story to you. And this story contains a whole lot of ooh sound words. And ooh sounds go in the middle or at the end, with the exception of oohs that we've seen so far. But for the most part, middle and end. So every time you hear the ooh sound, you got to clap. Okay, ready? So let me just read it one time and you listen, and then we'll read it again, and then that's when you're going to do your clapping. So, Stu Booth's tooth is loose. It is hard for Stu to chew his food. Soon Stu will lose his loose tooth. When Stu loses his tooth, he will get a brand new tooth. All right, so that's the first one. You heard that's a lot of oohs. So every time you hear an ooh, you're going to clap for me. I'm going to try and do it with you and follow along. Let's go. So, Stu Booth's tooth. Let me finish the word. After word, okay? Let's start over. Stu Booth's tooth is loose. It is hard for Stu to chew his good food. Soon Stu will lose his loose tooth. When Stu loses his tooth, he will get a brand new tooth. Okay, I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Okay, so now that we're all warmed up and our brains are all fresh in the ooh sound, and our hands are kind of warm. Mine are toasty. We're going to continue with writing. So, yesterday we planned our story. So, we thought about it and we wrote out the notes for our plan. Today, we're going to draft a fictional narrative. And when you're drafting, you're writing. This is the first version of it in complete sentence. This is your first complete sentence version of a story. And what you're going to need is your cat book, and which has your plan from yesterday. I know my plan here is blank, but don't worry, you'll see what we did together. My plan is here, and you're going to need a piece of paper. We are going to write out a draft together on paper. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to some what's called transition words. And we use these words to transition between the beginning, the middle, and the end. If you notice on our plan template in your cat book, page 2.1, they picked a couple for us to use for this particular fictional narrative. Fictional means make-believe, narrative, story. So fictional narrative means the same as a make-believe story. For us to indicate the beginning, they picked once there were. For us, for the middle, they picked next in the tale. And then the end, they said at the end of the tale. So before we write anything, let's sort through some transition words that let us go from beginning to middle to end of a story. Okay? So first, like I said, beginning, middle, and end. The first one reads, in the tale there are. Is that a beginning word, a middle word? Is that a beginning phrase? Sorry, you're right, it's not one word. A middle phrase or an ending phrase? beginning phrase. In the tale there are. It's setting us up for the beginning. Good job. How about once? Beginning, like once upon a time. That's usually associated specifically with fairy tales. Okay, what about so? That one might come off a little tricky, but so is middle. It's part of the middle. It can be the early middle, the middle, or the late middle, but it's definitely somewhere in the middle of the story. Transition words. Okay, what about but? No, not your biggest muscle, but there we go. See, so when you're connecting different ideas, so that must be in the middle. Excellent. How about at the end? Yes, that is to tell that you're at the end of the story. Imagine that. At the end tells us we're at the end. What about the tale ends with? How about the tale ends with? Yeah, that's the ending. The tale ends with. Okay, the tale ends with. All right, what about one time? Where does one time go? The beginning. One time is very similar to once upon a time, just a little less old sounding. Okay, what about next? Next is the middle. Excellent. How about this tale tells us that? This tale tells us that goes at the end. It's setting you up to reveal the moral. Oh, what was the moral of King Log and King Crane? Be careful what you wish for, or be happy with what you have. Both of those versions work. How about a good thing in this tale is? That's also an ending. That's an ending expression because that's like kind of looking back over what you've already read at the beginning and the middle and stating your opinion on it. Okay? How about then? Where would then be used to transition the beginning, the middle, or the end? The middle. Okay, how about the tale kicks off with? Well, if it's kicking off, then it's just beginning. It's just beginning. All right, and the tale is set in. Another beginning expression. You're doing awesome. You know that? You're doing really, really good. Now, would you use all of these in one story? Absolutely not, because you only get one beginning. So, yes, you will not use all these in one story by any stretch of the word, but it is just good to not always start or continue or end with the same words. This is just we're strengthening our writing skills. Yeah. Okay, how about last? Where would last belong? At the end of the story. Good job. And step one is, where is step one? At the beginning of the story. This is awesome, 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 awesome. Very, very good work. Very good work. All right, guys. So we are now ready to continue. And as you see here, this is our plan from the last time we met, which you have in your cat book. Here's our plan right here. We said the who were the frogs, the gods, the King Log and King Crane. They were where? They were in Frogland. And we said that once there were frogs who wanted a king, and they got one. Next in the tale, they asked for a strong king, and they got one. And at the end of the tale, the gods said the frogs were fools, and they had to keep the bad king. And he wasn't just bad, he was dangerous. He was dangerous. Good. So now, on our blank piece of paper, we can write this out as a complete story. Yay! Let me pick a different color. Pick a pink story? All right, so for this one, let's start with once today. Today we're going to start with once, okay? Now remember, we're not copying the words straight out of the book. We're writing our own version of the same story based on the plan we put together. So, once That's going to be our opening transition word. And in the beginning of the story, we need to identify our characters. We have to tell who's going to be in the story. Now, some of the characters we know, as from reading the story, are going to come in later. But we need to know what's going on, who we're with, and probably where they're at. So once we're either comma, ooh, getting fancy, in Frogland, we're going to identify our setting. Once in Frogland, now that's not the end of my sentence, but I ran out of room, so I need to return sweet. And what I would recommend you to do on your piece of paper is actually skipping lines right now while we're learning about how to write like this, so you won't write on this line, okay? Matter of fact, I probably won't write. I'm going to skip lines too, so we're going to skip a line for spacing purposes. Once in Frogland, the gods, we've identified our setting. Check off the setting. We're going through the characters. The gods. We got gods. Yes, good. You see how I have both visible at the same time? Both my plan and my blank piece of paper? That's what you should be doing as well. Once in Frogland, the gods sent a big log to be king. Okay, once in Frogland, the gods sent a big log to be king. All right, we got king log. Check. We know we're in Frogland, we've met the gods, and now we met king log. Let's keep going. All right, so this is still kind of beginning-ish. Notice I have room here, so I'm gonna start my next sentence here. But I know it's a new sentence because there's my period and there's my capital letter to transition into a new sentence. No, I'm left-handed. I smushed up. Sorry. The frogs were. How did they feel? Scared. The frogs were scared. So once was our opening transition word. Once in Frogland, the gods sent a big log to be king. The frogs were scared. But then they were not. Then doesn't fit here. Then they were not. But then they were not. See? But then, some middle word transition, yep. But then they were not. Next, ooh, notice the middle is the biggest part of any story. Y'all know I'm left-handed. Y'all gonna help me with the smudges, okay? Next, now remember guys, we talked about this. So like here we have a sandwich. Bread, beginning, end. They're always there. The middle grows and grows and grows as our sandwich. Just like a story grows and grows and grows, those things are happening in the middle of the story. So next, the frogs, what'd they do? So yeah, they got a king. They got one. Good. Next, the frogs did what? They asked for a strong king. Next, the frogs asked for a strong king. Next, the frogs asked for a strong king. All right. Now, we did not meet the strong king by name because remember, we're not copying, we're rewriting, but we did just technically meet King Crane. So that's our character. We know we met the frogs. We got the beginning. We got the middle. Now we just need the end of the story. Now we need the end of the story. Now remember, we're looking for a complete sentence, okay? Complete sentence. And that's going to be that. Last, which means we're now at the end. Good job. Last, the gods sent a crane to be king, and the crane ate the frogs. Oh no. Whew. All right. They had to keep the bad king? Yep, they had to keep the bad king that was eating them. All right, so let's read our draft. We took our plan and we made lovely complete sentences, and it reads, once in Frogland, the gods sent a big log to be king. The frogs were scared, but then they weren't. Then they were not. Next, the frogs asked for a strong king. Last, the gods sent a crane to be king, and he ate the frogs. Did we hit all the points of the story? We did. We hit all the major points of the story. Good. We used words that we have been taught the rules of spelling so we can decode them. We crack all the codes. And we see our transitions. Once, next, last, knowing that we've hit the points of the story. Did I use the same transition words that our draft did? Or I'm sorry, our plan did? No, because you don't have to use the same ones every time. That's the whole point of having a list and having choices. All right, guys, so yes, this is our draft of the story. That was a lot of writing. So I'm going to stop here for a second so you can finish it up if you didn't. If I don't stop long enough, go ahead and pause the video so you can get this information. I'm going to take a picture because I think we did a great job. I'm keeping this. I'm keeping this. This is what's happening. I'm going to get out your way. Hold on, let me take a picture and get out the way. All right, so let me get you that clean shot so you can finish it if you're not quite done. All right, guys. So yeah, that was a good clean shot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and erase this. Yes, I took a picture because we worked super duper hard on our draft. We have one more step to do with these. One more step to do, but we're not doing that today. We're not doing that today. What we're gonna do today is practice in our books. You're gonna do this inside of your book, PP4. And you're going to just do the front side, just the front. Don't do the back. What I say, do not do the back, only the front. You're going to practice writing some words that have this ooh sound. So cool, moon, root, hoop, scoop. Good, okay? And I actually have a spelling assignment for you today. I know most days you don't have a must-do, may-do spelling task, but today you do, and that's a word search. using the words from your list on page PP1. You're going to find them in this word search, which I've turned into a Nearpod Draw It. It's a Draw It on Nearpod now, yes. And you find the word, you circle the word. And because you're comparing it with your list in your book, you got your iPad, you got your little nip, you draw, circle the word. I already did one for you. Which one did I do? They. So everyone should have this one correct, right? Good. How many total words do you need to find? 8. You need to find all 8 words. All 8 words are in here. Matter of fact, I see 1, 2 more right now just glancing at it. So yeah, you're going to do this in your book, and you're going to do this on the Nearpods, looking for the words and find them in the word search. Yes, there is an actual assignment with your spelling for you to do today, just to make sure. I need to know. It gives me peace of mind to know that you've practiced at least one good time. At least one good time. Guys, but yes, that is our lesson for the day. I'm so glad that we're getting this far into our fictional make-believe narrative story writing process. Hopefully when we're done, y'all can turn in some really great narratives of your own. Woo, yay. All right, but that's it. So I'll see you later. Bye.